Awesome. Yeah, that's already a good summary, but indeed. Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming over. I had to make a bit of a hurry today to hack together these slides. So if they look hacky, well, they are. But I hope I can convey the message still. So what we are at FruitPunch is the global AI for good community that aims to teach and apply AI for good. So the problem that we noticed, like, there's this huge gap in what industry needs and what AI engineers learn in universities, right? I did a formal data science education myself. And once I actually started working for an organization and setting up the data science department, I noticed really quickly that I learned a lot about the modeling and the mathematics and everything around that, but the things that actually matter, like understanding the client, getting legacy data into a decent data source, when you have a model, deploying it, making sure that it keeps up, all these skills are things that are missing in a lot of the early students and engineers. So this is a problem that we noticed, where on the other side, of course, there's a huge demand for these people. So how can we fill this demand? How can we give this powerful technology in hands of as many people as possible, while educating them in a correct manner, but also in a way that they have a sustainable mindset, so they also take responsibility for the things that they build? Well, that is the gap that we try to solve. And well, the solution might be kind of obvious, but we put them in real world projects. So I'll tell you about some of those in a sec. First, a bit on like how we do this. So we have these real world projects, what we call AI for good challenges. And once we find such a challenge, we just look for organizations all around the world that have a data set and a problem that we might be able to solve with AI that works towards something good. And we define good by connecting the challenges to the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. So once we identified such an organization in the data set, we turn it into an AI for good challenge, and we crowdsource 50 people from all around the world to join in on that challenge and try to solve it. So while they do that, we assess them on their individual skills. So we have a platform where we do a set of peer reviewing, and everybody gets to show their skills. And then we accreditate those and put them in their skill tree. So there's this personal profile and a tree that contains all the soft and hard skills in the field of AI and software development. And this we then use to match to partners. So in the end, in business model wise, we're a VC invested startup, and we are a recruitment agency in some sense. But then we do the whole education and we assess people on real world projects. So instead of like trying to look at the LinkedIn and their diplomas, we actually put them in projects with other people and find out what their actual skills are. So that's in short how we operate. These challenges are 10 weeks long. So if we do a challenge together with an organization, we first have 6 to 8 weeks of recruitment where we communicate about the challenge, we communicate in our channels and their channels, and then we make sure that we recruit those 50 people. Then we start executing. This only takes 10 weeks. So the participants in there spend about 8 to 12 hours a week. So some people do this as a student besides their jobs, or people that are in between jobs. And we educate, then we solve the problem and we educate them in real world AI. So, and then in the end, we of course have the benefit of these people having learned skills and of an organization that we actually helped out with an AI problem. So we manage this all in the platform that I already mentioned. We now have 3,000 people in there that are assessed. We have 16 community organized challenges. So we don't only organize challenges ourselves, but we also allow the community to put their challenges on our platform and manage those. And we have 4 global chapters. So those are often students that have like a local presence in some cities. So we have one in Cape Town, South Africa, Hyderabad, India, San Francisco, US, and in Eindhoven, the Netherlands, where I am right now. So that's all about us. Today, I'm talking about AI for wildlife, because as mentioned, we do AI for good for the SDGs, right? So that means that we have a wide space. We do things in energy transition and in healthcare. But actually, our largest front is on the AI for wildlife space. We also have some additional sponsors there that are willing to sponsor all sorts of challenges. We're also working with Arbimon, so you'll see your logo in a sec there as well. So what I just wanted to do today within the time is tell you about some of those projects and then also invite you to join in on the next one, because we actually have one that we launched today. So AI for Wildlife, this is also the name of one of our challenges. It's actually a series of challenges, and this is my personal favorite because I traveled for this to South Africa. There they have a lot of problems with poaching, especially on rhinos. And we are working together with an organization there that wants to deploy technology to attack this poaching problem. So what they do is they have a drone that can fly over the wildlife reserves for about 4 hours. And it has a thermal camera because they fly this thing at night. And when you are there in the night as a person, then you shouldn't be there because no people are allowed in the park. So then you're a poacher, right? Once they find such a person, they alarm the rangers and they intervene. So we build AI models firsthand to detect these people on that infrared camera. But then, of course, you get the problem that there is no cellular network, so you can't stream this data back to the cloud. So it needs to be calculated on the drone. But if you put heavy compute on the drone, it not only gets too heavy to transport itself, but AI is power hungry, and this also means that you need to reduce the flight time that the drone actually has, so the range of the drone. So this all we then had to redo and do it for edge hardware. So we redone part of the project to be able to run it on edge. And now these drones are actually flying there with NVIDIA Jetsons on board, live detecting whether there are poachers flying around. And why I love this project so much, because it's not only about building a very accurate AI, but it's also about making a power efficient AI, and it's about doing something on edge hardware. So this is one of my favorite wildlife projects. Then recently we finished AI for seals. That's the cutest challenge ever that we ever did. So this was together with bio researchers in New York Bay. There are a lot of seals, but not too many, and that's actually the thing that they're trying to monitor, because seals are a keystone species there. So they give a lot of information. I don't have to explain that here, I think. But they give a lot of information about the health of the total ecosystem. So they want to know which seals are where in what year and how many are of them. So they need to not only detect their faces, but also identify individuals over multiple years. So together with them, we build an application that is both able to detect and then identify the several seals. And we build this into a web application where they can actually collaborate with other researchers. So we also have plans to make this, use the same application, which is mostly not built seal specific, to also see if we can do the same thing for primates and for other species that we can recognize by their face and then also identify over different photos. Another challenge that's running right now is AI for forest elephants, and this is also where Arbimon and Rainforest Connection come in. This challenge we do together with, we do for Cornell and Stanford University. There they have this Bioacoustics lab, the Elephant Listening Project, and they have 50 microphones in Central African rainforest, and there they want to monitor the different elephants that go around there. They have some software for this, but it takes about 2 weeks to analyze all the data. So now teams are hard at work to make a more accurate model that's able to not only detect elephant rumbles, but also gunshots. But they're also going to make the whole pipeline scalable and fast, such that instead of them having to wait weeks for all the audio over 4 months is processed, but they can do that overnight. And another important thing there is that we included in this project is we are going to look at the next step and see, like, hey, can we do live detection? Because especially, of course, gunshot detection, not that interesting after 4 months, right? So we're working with NXP together. That's a large silicon company to move all these models to the edge. So we have scientists from them as well to collaborate with us to make, again, these models small as possible to be able to work on live data. So those are some of the various things that we've done in these challenges. So that should give you an idea on the type of biodiversity challenges that we work on. And I heard Singapore today. There we also work with the marine biologists to detect different types of coral species and also be able to segment them to guess how much area they take on a photograph of the seafloor. So these are some of the challenges that we do. The one that we launched today is AI for camera traps, but specifically AI for European wildlife. And the goal here is, again, as probably all of you know, detecting animals on camera traps. It's kind of a done deal. If you take like Mega Detector and all these models that are already out there, they are often accurate enough. However, they become a lot less accurate when you deploy them in environments that are not incorporated in the data set. And what it can do is identify single species. So I've talked, I think, at least 20 different conservation organizations, they were like, yeah, mega detector not really useful because it can't tell us which is on there. And and some of them I heard like, and in our environment, it doesn't work that well. So this first challenge is together with Swedish University of Agriculture, where we want to detect the Swedish wildlife. But the goal of the overarching project here is to transfer learn models like megadetector to these specific environments. So be able to be sure that they are actually trained with a way smaller data set to work well in their environments. And on top of that, add a layer that is actually able for that specific environment to classify the animals. And this way, we hope to set up a pipeline that would allow future researchers to upload, let's say, 100 to 1,000 photos that they labeled themselves, but then be able to use these very powerful models that have been trained by other organizations to then distill them down for their specific use. So in this way, we hope to give the power of like automated camera trap classification to way more researchers in the field. And that's all I have for you today.
Okay, a few questions to follow up. How do people get involved? Either like if you're a conservationist listening and you're like, man, that sounds awesome. What do they do? What's the process? Can they get involved, or is it restricted to the WWFs of the world?
No. So it's people that are in the challenge, like it's individuals most of the time. We also have some like organizations that come in with a team, but often these are just students, professionals, experts that want to do something for the world. You go to our website, there you'll find our platform as well, and there you can subscribe for the different challenges. And if you want to keep up to date with the challenges, then best follow us on LinkedIn, because there we promote them heavily.
Wait, that doesn't answer. That answers my question. If you're a developer and want to help on the ML side, what do you do if you're a conservationist and you own the data? Are you looking for new partners?
Oh yes, we're always looking for new challenges. So that's a shout out that I forgot here. Would have been smart. No, we're always looking for new projects. And well, if you might have one, two important things, right? An SDT cost, well, that's no problem here. And we need to have the data. Like we can provide labeling, by the way. So we do have some labeling partners that can help us out with labeling. So if you have an unlabeled data set, then we might still be able to help you out.
Okay. And it strikes me that a couple of the projects you talked about have and Tom's mentioned this in the chat, that there's naturalists are building a pan-European species classifier with 30 million images, and the seal one reminds me of someone help me, Wild Book and Wild Me, and there's a lot of projects that are also in this space. What's your process for collaborating and ensuring that the stuff you're building here and like the crowdsourcing and the AI work you're doing is being incorporated and partnering with other projects and reaching out into our community?
Yeah, no, definitely. So partnering up with other organizations, that's one of the core things that we do. And the reason for that is, of course, to be able to crowdsource 50 people on that, we need a large community. So as many organizations that are interested in a specific technology or that have technology that can help us out, they're always welcome. We do some research, of course, beforehand, before we launch such a challenge, if it's even necessary that we build this, right? Isn't there a tool outside of the tools that we're planning to build that can already do the exact same thing? Often it's just, it doesn't adhere to the requirements from the research organization that we collaborate with. But still, then it could be very interesting of those types of organizations to then join in. And that's also why we join in as many of them as possible. And this way we can also broaden our communication channels.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I know you have a call to run to, so
yeah, I do, actually.
If you do have to sprint, thank you so much for jumping in at the last minute and sharing the work. It's fascinating, and we'll share it on Wild Labs and let you know what our community thinks and if there are any questions.